ChatGPT has changed a lot, so here's the updated guide in 2025 to help you get the most out of your prompts and use ChatGPT to its full potential. In this video, I'll go over all the new models available, when you should use each model, all the new tools available as well to help you incorporate ChatGPT in either your business or your work. And if you do want to learn how to grow your business with AI, make sure to check out our website in the description as we offer complete AI growth playbooks for business owners. So diving right in, let's first start with all the new ChatGPT models available for use right now. When ChatGPT first came out in November of 2022, there was only one AI model available, which was called GPT 3.5. And now fast forward to 2025, we have 8 available AI models via the website and even more through an API. So let me dive into each of the 8 AI models and let you know what their strengths are and when you should actually use them. So starting off, we have GPT 4o, and you can think of this as the original Swiss Army knife. It's one of the older AI models, so the intelligence is a little bit dated, but it is the only true multimodal model, and all this means is that it can handle multiple file types, so you can send it audio files, text, images, PDFs, and even video snippets. In fact, if you saw any of the viral Studio Ghibli images or just those photorealistic images that people were hyping AI to be able to produce, they were all based off this GPT 4o model. But if you want to deal with only text, there are much stronger and smarter models that OpenAI offers. In fact, one of these stronger models actually just came out recently, and it's a direct upgrade to the 4o family, which is called 4.1. This new model is a lot more intelligent, but even more importantly, it has a lot more context. This means it can remember more of your previous conversations and it can follow instructions a lot better. This is pretty much the standard model that comes with either free or paid plans on ChatGPT. Next, we have GPT 4.5, and this might just be the most unique model in the roster. This isn't the smartest model in terms of raw compute power, but it is one of the most expensive. In fact, you only get 50 of these chats per week with the ChatGPT Plus plan, which is $20 a month. Now, what this model does excel at is emotional intelligence. So if you ever want a human feeling model to either talk to or generate text for you, this is the model to go with. I found this perfect for sales copy, generating blogs for your online business, personal emails, or just more human-like writing that doesn't sound like the standard AI slop that you can easily detect. Now, let's move on to where ChatGPT really shines nowadays with their reasoning models. So from these reasoning models, we first have O4 Mini and O4 Mini High. These models are great for complex questions like STEM, data work, coding, and math. Now, both the O4 Mini and O4 Mini High are basically the same AI model. The O4 Mini High just has a little bit more compute or intelligence. Now, the best part of these models is availability. So you get 100 messages per day on O4 Mini High and 300 messages per day with O4 Mini. So unless you're an extreme power user of some sort, you can reliably use these models for almost any task and never hit your rate limits. Think of these as the smartest AI models you can use every single day in your workflows. And then finally, we have the big hitter, which is the full O3 model from OpenAI. This is the most intelligent model, which is great for multi-step tasks. What this means is that O3 can work from your initial prompt without needing much guidance. You can have it create deep research reports, multi-step analyses, or just massive code reviews and generation. One good prompt with O3 is almost the same thing as going back and forth like 30 times with another ChatGPT model like 4o. Now, let me give you a quick rundown on how I would personally use all of these models. So if I wanted to generate a marketing graphic for my business, I would go ahead and select the GPT 4o. And here's an example of a prompt that could work. So I've typed in to create a modern marketing banner image for a new product launch of a fictitious vitamin business called Gummy. And then we're just letting them know that we want the font bold sans serif with the headline about the product. And then finally, we also want a soft gradient background. So now waiting for this image to generate, let's go ahead and see what ChatGPT has made for us. And awesome, we have a pretty sleek looking marketing banner that we can go ahead and copy and paste to post on all of our social media accounts for our marketing campaign. Now moving on, for more one-off questions like in your business, if you quickly get a report that you want summarized, you can go ahead and choose GPT 4.1, which like I mentioned is basically the successor to 4.0 here, but this is just a little bit more powerful in terms of everyday tasks. So you can do 4.1 or 4.1 mini if you're a little bit concerned on hitting rate limits. So selecting 4.1 here, what I've uploaded is a fake business report that you could perhaps see inside your services business. So this is what it looks like here. It's over 20 pages of a monthly financial and operational report. As you can see, we have a ton of information on how the business was doing this year. or this month, I should say, with all their expenses and revenue laid out, as well as any other important line items or analyses on how the business is trending. So say you just got this in your inbox from an analyst and you want to quickly see all the important parts of this documentation, just simply upload it to 4.1 and you can get a quick summary on everything you need. So you can see what's performing best this month, which is their HVAC services. And then if we scroll down, we also have issues that need improvement. So accounts payable consistency, we have outstanding balances with vendors, as well as other client retention issues. And then if you want to move on to even more complex tasks, so this usually involves things in the STEM fields like coding, math, science, or if you want to write in-depth scripts for videos, for example, then you would go ahead and switch the model here to be O4 Mini High and ask the model a complex question or request. So super quick example here, but I've just uploaded some of my example video scripts and I could say based on my tone, create a 20-minute script on how lawyers can best use AI for a video. And then the O4 Mini High will first read through the document. And because it's a little bit more powerful compared to the other models, it's able to generate a more compelling and thoughtful script that you can actually use in production for either your videos or for any other advert or marketing campaigns. So here we can see the hook, introduction, and then we have different sections that we could potentially show in a video. And this just makes the entire process of scripting a lot easier when you have AI side by side to kind of like hold your hand and guide you through the process. So now that we've covered all the different models that the new ChatGPT has to offer, let's go over the new section here, which is called tools. And these are additional features that the models can have attached to them. And it just brings a little bit more functionality into your prompts. So right now, ChatGPT offers 4 tools that can be combined with all of their different AI models. First one here is pretty self-explanatory. It's just create an image. So you can simply just hop into GPT 4.0 and literally say create an image and it'll do so. But if you want to force the AI model to actually create an image, you can even easier, just go to tools, click create an image. And then rather than doing that, you can just simply describe the image. So you can say marketing advert for XYZ. And then this way, it'll automatically generate an image for you based on the model that you choose. Now, the second tool we have here is something called Search the Web. And if you use models like O4 Mini High or O4 Mini, O3 Mini, these are also able to search the web. But by clicking web search here, you can force the AI model to search the web for you rather than including it somewhere in your prompt and hoping that it does perform that task. So by clicking search the web, we can now search anything. So we can say something like who won the NBA game last night, and it's going to search the web for us. And this way they'll be able to find real-time data for us to see and use. And even better with the web search feature is that we actually get sources to make sure and verify that all the information is accurate. And if we do get any factually incorrect answers, we can see where this information is coming from and we know to avoid that source for the next time. And this is basically just a better version of Google search. Now, the third tool here is called Canvas. And what this does is open up an external window for you to either write or code projects. This new interface basically allows you to collaborate alongside ChatGPT, which is great if you're working on like an essay, for example, because you get to work with them side by side rather than just having a conversation in this format. So let me go ahead and show you what I mean. So here I've written to write me a 2,000-word essay on the history of Oppenheimer and the Manhattan Project. So now we have this canvas enabled. So this should open up a new window for us to be able to collaborate alongside. And then here we can see they're first writing the initial draft for us. And then now that we have this finished draft, we can literally highlight anything, ask ChatGPT to edit this specific sentence. We can also format it ourselves, and we could just have a conversation with it the same way we do in the regular interface. So again, just think of this as kind of like a buddy that's basically guiding you through the entire essay writing project. And obviously this works for other things like math or even particularly coding. And then finally, we have the last tool, which is called Run Deep Research. And this is actually one of the most powerful tools that ChatGPT has ever released. Now, on the basic plan, which is $20 a month, you only get 25 of these every single month. So I would use this sparingly, but this is an extremely powerful tool that lets you run deep research reports on any topic. So if you ever want to dive deep into a specific subject, you can run this tool and then it can write out basically an academic paper for you with over hundreds of different sources, multiple pages of information, just an extremely deep dive into almost anything that has verifiable information. So say you're just getting into fitness, you can say to create a report on hypertrophy training versus strength training and to please explain the differences in rep range, exercise selection, frequency, goals. And then once you go ahead and click enter, it's going to ask some clarifying questions just to make sure that it has all the information it needs before actually running the report for you. So for these questions, I indicated that this is going to be for professional use. For example, if you're a personal trainer. Next, we want to target this to be focused on beginners as well as intermediate lifters. And then we do want to incorporate scientific studies just to make sure that everything we say from this report is backed by science. And then finally, we'll want a combination of structured sections, bullet points, and essays. And like I mentioned in the earlier section of the video, this tool is extremely powerful, but super slow. So I will see you in maybe like 15 to 20 minutes. Now here is our finished research report on hypertrophy training versus strength. We can see we have an introduction, and this is all well formatted as well as organized for you to essentially have all the information you need. And we have sources after almost every sentence so that you can ensure that all the information is accurate. But this is the primary goals, scrolling down. Another summary, repetition ranges, and training volume. Scrolling down, again, we have sources from medical journals after every single statement. Scrolling down even more, we have exercise selection, training materials, and this just goes on and on based on all the criteria we set from our initial prompts to this deep research tool. So now scrolling all the way to the end, we have our final conclusion as well as all the sources that were used inside this deep research report. And again, this is a super powerful tool that's basically this like expert level research analyst that you have at your fingertips that you can use every single day. Now, there are a few other features that ChatGPT recently added. Codex, for example, is one to use if you are looking to code using ChatGPT. You can think of this as kind of replacing Cursor if you're familiar with that tool. Next, we have Sora, which is all for video generation. So here you can generate short videos that are basically photorealistic on any single topic that you want. But one thing I wanted to cover in a bit more detail is this new feature called projects. Now with projects, you can basically think of this as an upgraded chat where you can keep multiple chats as well as different files and custom instructions all in one place. So I would use projects if you are working on a large engagement that needs a ton of different chats, a ton of different instructions, as well as multiple files to store all in one place so that you can easily reference it for the AI. And it basically gives you a very specific version of ChatGPT that's trained on all the information you need. So this might sound a little bit confusing, but let me go ahead and show you what this is best used for. So for our project name, I can type in something like Video Script Analyzer and click Create Project. Now in this project, we can see that we can first chat just like we typically do with any other ChatGPT model. But below this, before we even chat with the model, we can first add files and then we can also add instructions. So this way you're basically training this very specific ChatGPT model here, whichever one we choose. So we can do O4 mini. And then before we even talk with them, we can have them pre-trained on any files as well as instructions. So they're more tailored for our specific use case. Now I've titled this to be Video Script Analyzer, and what I want this project to do is essentially have all of my YouTube video scripts all in one place, and then we can add in instructions that they're first going to read through all of our scripts, be knowledgeable on everything we've covered on the channel thus far, as well as be able to generate new ideas or new scripts based on the tone that we typically talk or write in. So starting off, let's go ahead and add in all the different files that make up our YouTube videos. So in this example, I've uploaded 8 different files, which are just 8 different video scripts that I've personally done for the YouTube channel. And then in the instructions, I've written that you're an expert YouTube video analyzer. You have access to all the different YouTube scripts for our channel called AI Pathways. And then we want them to use the scripts to first answer questions on what we've already covered. We want them to be able to generate new video ideas based on our previous videos, and then also write scripts in the same exact tone as shown in the examples we've given it. So now we can chat with this model just like we did before, but now it has all this information that it's technically trained on. So I just asked a simple question: what industries have I covered to use with AI, and what are the next industries I should cover? So now let's wait for a second. We can see it's thinking, reading through our documents, and then it's going to provide us with a more tailored answer inside this project. So here we can see that we've already made videos on B2B lead generation, spreadsheet automation, enterprise AI use cases, as well as accounting and finance. And then following this, we have additional industry gaps. Now I've already made videos on real estate and legal firms, but I just didn't upload the files. But assuming I didn't, right, for this little tutorial, we have real estate as a suggested gap, legal services, HR, e-commerce, healthcare, manufacturing, hospitality, and all these other different industries. So now say we're really interested in perhaps using AI for insurance and risk management. We can now follow up by having them actually write us out a script. So now I'll ask the AI model to write out a script for us using AI in insurance and risk management. and we want this to be a 10-minute long video. It's going to be able to generate a script for us in the same exact tone as the ones we've provided. And awesome, here we have the hook intro, which sounds pretty much like what I would say. Then moving on, we have the insurance challenge from 30 seconds to a minute 30. Then we have AI-driven underwriting that we can perhaps showcase in the video. Then moving on, we have a claims processing automation, which we can build within N8N and show how this works. And then finally, we have fraud detection and prevention, as well as advanced risk modeling and pricing. Then, because it's seen our previous video scripts, it would know that I like to build out these N8N workflows from scratch. So that's what we would typically do here. Now, this time frame might be a little messed up because it'll take longer than a minute to build, but I would say this is actually like 95% accurate in terms of what I would like to see in a video script, especially when targeting an industry like this. So to end this video, I'll go ahead and copy this exact template, and if you found this helpful, make sure to smash the like button, subscribe, and again, like I mentioned in the beginning, you can join our community in the description for full templates and workflows.